I was doing what I now call putting my life on layaway. Subconsciously, I was waiting for someone to come give me permission to do what I wanted to do. I had one client who had paid me 300 bucks. It's proof of concept. I can make money as an entrepreneur. I'm getting the heck out of corporate. I went from having been stuck at the same level of income for over 10 years, struggling, hustling, forcing, pushing, to turning my annual income into my. No one is coming to give you permission. No one is coming to tell you. It is you. It is you. It is you. It is you. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome to day one of the abundance experience. Oh my gosh. I am so excited to dive into this with all of you over the next 2 days. This is going to be a really powerful container that is designed to help you really transform your relationship, not just with money, although money is certainly a lot of how we experience abundance on this planet, but with yourself, with how powerful you are, with tapping into your fullest potential in sales, business, and life. And so I just want to invite you, if you are here for the first time, I'd love to see that in the chat. You can put a one in the chat. Let us know. Let us see. We've got a lot of beautiful new faces who are registered for this as well. And I also want to ask that if you are here live, please turn on your camera if you can. I know that sometimes we can't always turn on our camera. Hello, hello. Hi, Allison. Oh, Angela, I'm so happy to see you. Hello, good afternoon. But I love when these events are super interactive. I think it's so important, and you're going to get out of it what you put into it as well. And so I don't know about you, but I know for myself, if I'm trying to multitask, if I'm trying to do all the things during, during a training, during a Zoom, during a webinar, I'm not really present and I'm not soaking it up. And what I want to say to all of you is that you are worth carving out 90 minutes today and tomorrow. And then for those of you who are joining us on the VIP day on Saturday, that'll be another beautiful container where we can tap into more overflow and abundance for you. But you are worth taking the time to be fully present to dismantle any old limiting beliefs when it comes to money, abundance, possibility, as well as to architect your future of what is next for you. And so, cameras on, fully present, taking notes. My team put together a beautiful workbook for you to go along with this as well. So, huge shout out to the team for that. And I would really encourage you use that today, tomorrow, this week. You're going to want to save it. You're going to want to go through it more later as well. But it's going to help you really integrate this experience as well. So I am just so happy to see all of you. Rich, good to see you. Oh my goodness. So, so good to see you. This is going to be incredibly powerful. We've got Emma, we've got Christy. Hello, hello, hello. Here's what I would love to hear from all of you. I'm going to share a bit about just an insight that I had while I was taking a walk this morning about how this material has shaped my life. But I also want to hear from all of you. Uh, what are you calling in over the course of this event? Why are you here? Bob Proctor put it this way, and I love it. He said, everything that you do, you are trading your life for it. He actually said, you are trading your life for your goals. So you might as well make your goals something that is worthy of trading your life for. And I love that. And in that spirit, we are all trading our life right now for this event. And so and my intention is to make it well worth the trade for you. But I want to hear from you. Why is it that you're here? What are you calling in? What are you wanting to experience? Is there something you're wanting to shift? Is there a next level financial goal that you're looking to achieve in your sales or in your business? We have an incredibly diverse community across the world, actually, of really incredible sales professionals and entrepreneurs. And I love tailoring the content of these events to you specifically, to everyone who's here live. So I want to hear and see from you in the chat. What is it that you are looking to create, shift, rearrange, align with in this event? Let's see here. Oh, Emma, first time here. Welcome, welcome. Where are you coming in from, by the way? You all can also put that in the chat where you're coming in from. We would love to know. I see Sarah, I see Michelle. Hello, everyone. So while you're thinking about that and sharing that in the chat, Like I said, I thought about this morning when I was on a walk. We've got a 6-week-old daughter, right, in addition to 2 little boys under 5 at home, so it's a full household, and I was going for a walk this morning, and I was wearing her, and we were just enjoying, like, finally a warm day in Maine, which I'm very grateful for. It's almost summer, and it's, like, our first warm day, so it is what it is. It's all good. Angela, you know what I'm talking about, right? You're here, you understand. But I was thinking about this, and the download that came through for today and for this group is that abundance really is it's a way of life. It's a lifestyle. It's a way of being. It's not tied to any certain dollar amount. I used to think it was all about hitting a certain dollar amount. And while I love growing and increasing the amount of money that flows through my life and helping our clients do the same, we actually get abundance twisted when we think that it's about any certain dollar amount. To me, abundance, it is an embodiment, it is a paradigm about life, it is a state of plenty, it is a state of more than enough at all times. Now, that can be more than enough money. And what I will say is, as you lean into this material and you embody what we're going to be talking about over these next 2 days, and for those of you who choose to go further with us in your journey, you join us in our programs, et cetera, and we go further in this with you, it will that will manifest in terms of increased financial flow in your life. And it can also be more than enough opportunities, more than enough time. Who in here is a parent? Or even just maybe you're not a parent, but you feel like, man, I am the phrase we use in the community. We don't say busy, but we say in demand. Who here feels sometimes like they're in demand, like they've got a lot of demands on their time? So if you are in time scarcity, you are also in financial scarcity. Scarcity is a lens, it is a paradigm, it is a way of being, just as abundance is a lens, it is a paradigm, it is a way of being. And what I was reflecting on my walk this morning was there is well, I'm sure there's a way, but I don't think it would be an enjoyable way to do what I am doing right now as a mom of 3 young kids under 5, running and growing a business that's scaling to 8 figures while also, like, enjoying my life and taking plenty of time off. If it were not for this material, if it were not for this information that we're gonna dive into these next 2 days, I don't know how it would be possible. I will say it that way. So this is life-changing material. This is extremely transformational, and I want to invite you to be all in with it and really give that to yourself as a gift over these next 2 days. So let me see what everyone is calling in here. Kat, I'm calling in more time freedom. I love it. I love it. I love it. And what's beautiful about this material and what we'll talk about is you can apply what we're talking about here to time, which is so great. So, how we do one thing is how we do everything. So, the more that you learn to look at your money, your sales, your business, your opportunities through a lens of abundance, the more you will also start to look at your time through a lens of abundance. Something we're going to talk about tomorrow is a concept, something I've just been playing with really recently, like over the past week. So it's pretty new, but this concept of relaxed success, which just came to me as I was thinking about, like, what is it that I want to experience in this next chapter while growing and scaling the company to 8 figures and beyond, but also being there as a mom, as a parent, and as a partner, as a wife, all the things. And so there's an energy to that. There's an energy to relaxed success where there is absolutely an intensity to what it is that we are creating and calling in, and a radical growth in our results. But there's also a strong element of presence, and there's a strong element of flow, and there's a strong element of receivership, receiving downloads, inspiration, right ideas, right opportunities, etc. So if that speaks to you, we're going to dive into that more tomorrow, and I want to invite you to play with that as well. But Kat, to your goal and vision of calling in more time freedom, I think we're going to do that. Shelly, by the way, happy birthday. We've got at least 3 birthdays that I know of in the community today, which is so beautiful. And Shelly is one of them. So happy birthday. I'm trying to turn on video and my own audio, but something's not working. Oh, well, here you are. You figured it. Angela, love curating my life and digesting content that's in alignment with the way I live. Absolutely love building community. Yes. Hearing that contributing voice. This is an amazing community. That is, we talk about this as a team a lot. By the way, who here is part of the She Sells or Superhuman Selling community already? You can raise your hand. You could, yeah, like a lot. It's so beautiful. This community is sometimes it gets me quite emotional thinking about all of you, thinking about who is here, thinking about what we are building and creating together. We just the whole team and I love, adore, appreciate you, and you all will hear from some members of the community, especially today as we dive in, because it really is about a collective. It is about us, and there's something really powerful happening within this community of very driven, motivated, highly ambitious leaders in business, in corporate sales, who are also calling in a different way of working, a different way of leading, a way that feels prosperous, abundant, aligned, that isn't about hustle or not enoughness or push or force, but one where you get to expand into the fullness of who you are, the fullest vision of who you are, experience tremendous financial flow, abundance, possibilities in your life, and live a beautiful life while also giving, impact, contributing. So we've got a beautiful community of, I would say, very heart-driven, soul-led leaders here. And it's just continuing to grow. And so, huge shout out to all of you. And if it's your first time here, you are so welcome. We love you. We welcome you in with open arms. And we are just so happy that you are here too. Okay, let's see what else we're calling in. Allison, integrating a new financial and life set point. Ooh, I love the concept of the life set point. Yes, a new abundance container I'm looking to align into, going through a powerful move to a new state and city. Yes, and you all will hear from Allison today. And I think that she embodies so much of what we're going to be talking about in the course of this week together. You'll get to hear some of her own quantum leaps, which are happening in this moment right now as well, which is really, really fun. Oh my gosh, there's so much. All right. I don't know if I'm gonna have time to shout them all out, but let me just see. Emma, calling and moving from blockage and fear and stuck beliefs. Yes, 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 we will do it. Ease, flow, space, and expansion. You are in the right place. Laura, calling in more belief that I can have the life I want. You would not want it if you were not meant to have it. This is what I wanna really drive home, like, Laura, you're in the community, so we talk about this. Your desires are green lights. So, the fact that you want it and you desire that thing specifically, or those things specifically, they are meant for you. They are your soul, your higher being, God, source, universe, whatever your language is, pointing you in the direction of what is gonna be next for you for your expansion. And so really anchoring in, it is safe to desire more. It is good to desire more. We're going to talk today and tomorrow about what I have found to be the most powerful blend for stepping into really increased abundance, which is there's a polarity to it. It's massive appreciation and an energy of having. There's actually a book written about an energy of having for everything that you already have, no matter how far off you may feel like you are right now from where you want to be. We got to start in that energy of having appreciation for exactly where we are, while simultaneously opening up to the fact that your desires are divine, your desires are green lights, and that you are meant to constantly expand as a spiritual being having a human experience here on this planet. You are going to be called on to consistently expand into something greater for yourself, something that is far more unlimited than you have ever experienced before. And so we'll talk about this throughout the course of this event. Money itself is not the vision, but money is often the how of the vision. And so we want to create a really healthy dynamic with money where it is our ally. It is helping us, it is supporting us in stepping into that fullest expansion and expression that is what you came here for. Are you all with me? Can I get an amen in the chat? Like, let's let's go. By the way, y'all, I told my team this, but I didn't share this yet on this event. The universe always gives me like a funny little moment right before the events. I think the last time or one of the times before, one of my this is so TMI, sorry. One of my dogs came in and like literally went to the bathroom right on my feet while the event was starting. But Zoom was already on and we couldn't stop. This time it wasn't so bad, but I did get covered in spit up right before we went live here. So, y'all, we're rolling with it. It is what it is. We do life, we do business for my parents out there, for my dog parents, my animal parents, you know how it goes. And we can expand into our fullest expression while also being covered in spit up in a clean only dress. So here we go. Let's do it. Abby, I'm calling in ease, support and financial flow. Yes. Shelly, calling my amazing remodeled home. And I think I haven't fully read your text yet, but I think I saw that you did that last night, that you were
We
on
signed
the
the contract. We signed the contract last night.
so this is something, if I'm not gonna give away too
Yeah,
much, but Shelly, when you and I, connected in October, I know you had a vision for this, and I wanna just shout you out for how quickly you have called this in and allowed this to happen in your life. So,
well, that
um
shout out right back at you because I still can't believe I'm like when it wasn't hard at all.
Yep, yep. We're gonna talk some today about how it doesn't have to be hard. So I love this. Let's see here. Liz, who's my mom, lost two very dear people in my life. Yes, yes, yes. I'm entering a new chapter and want to explore the vast range of possibilities. You're in the right place, and I love you. Um, Amazing. All right, here we go. Here we go, everyone. So let's get into it. So okay, let me make sure I hit all the highlights from a housekeeping note. And again, please keep if as things show up, I want to invite you if you're here live, type them in the chat what they are. We have a VIP day on Saturday. Let me just kind of lay out the flow of what's going to be happening. There is a lot of content that I want to share with you today and tomorrow. So today, tomorrow, we are meeting from 1 to 2:30 Eastern, both days. And so I will do my best to answer any questions that come up over the course of the next 2 days in the chat. With that being said, there is a lot, and I don't know how much I'm going to be able to. So I want you to share your ahas, your takeaways, your epiphanies, and your questions in the chat. My team will be capturing all of those as well. So I will do my best to address everything here live. And if you are looking for a place to go deeper and to have your questions answered in a true container for that, we've added something really special onto this event, which is on Saturday from, let me double check. I think it's 10 to 12 Eastern. Let me just look at my calendar. Yep. Saturday from 10 to 12 Eastern. We are having a 2-hour VIP call. That is a paid experience. It's a $97 ticket. Someone from my team can pop the link in the chat. Please, you all can see that. And you can go ahead and register if you're feeling called. But that is a place where we are going to get a chance for you to go deeper into this material. So if you want to have customization around this for questions that come up, or you're like, you know what, I know every time I invest in myself, I get something out of it. And I want to invest 2 hours on my Saturday to be coached, to be poured into, then that is a beautiful space where you can do that. So please take note of your questions, take note of what shows up, type them in the chat. But I would highly encourage you that if you want to have some, it won't be truly one-on-one because we're going to be in a group. It'll be like a group call format. But if you want to have the space for me to directly work with you on what's showing up for you at this event, that's a beautiful opportunity to do so. So that's this Saturday. Kat, thank you for popping the link here in the chat, and we'll also send it out in the replay for today as well. But I just highly encourage you, like, get registered. You'll get the replay too, if you're registered for that. But I'd love to have you there live as well. So with that, please engage, connect, takeaways in the chat. Join us for VIP day if you feel called. My team also did put together a beautiful workbook for you to use throughout this event. So if you need the workbook, just type in the chat. Let my team know. They'll help you make sure that you get it. But that's going to be a really powerful experience for you to go through and for you to integrate more deeply as we go. And then I will also just give a shout out to my team. If you are on the She Sells or Superhuman Selling team, if you can just raise your hand, your virtual hand preferably, so you scoot to the top of everyone's screen. But we have a really phenomenal community here. Oh, Laura, I like all the thumbs up. That's good. So these beautiful souls are here to support you. They are here to help you with questions that you have, with takeaways that you have, with anything that you need. Each of you has a success advisor for this event. If you do not know who your success advisor is, please, you can email assist@elisearcher.com. We will help you. You can also ask in the chat. My team can help you from there. But connect with your success advisor, book a call with them. They're here to help support you and empower you. Good. We're getting some asks for the workbook. So we'll make sure that anyone who needs it gets it as well. Is this recorded if we have to pop out? Yes, it is recorded. So the whole thing is recorded. You will get a link to the replay. I would, and totally get it for those of you who have things like, I'm glad you're here for whatever part you're here. Like making it work within a schedule of other things. Huge shout out. I love it. And for all of you, as much as you can be here, fully present the whole thing, you'll get the most out of it. But yes, Michelle, it is recorded, so you will get the replay as well. So amazing, amazing. Okay, I think we got it. So my intention for all of you, I kind of shared that at the beginning, but if you go all in on this, if you are fully present for yourself, for the community, for the collective, you will leave a very different person than you came in. Who here would love to leave not a completely different person, because there's a lot you already love about yourself and your life and how it's going, but who here would love to leave feeling transformed, leave feeling elevated, leave feeling abundant, leave feeling connected to possibility, to potential, to what's next for you? Brandon is saying always yes. Torald, by the way, Torald, I'm so glad that you're here. It's so beautiful to see you. Torald is a graduate of our 10K club community, and she flew over from Europe last summer for one of our events, and we love you and adore you. Yes, so much transformation. So that's my intention, is to help deliver that for you. And so I'll share just a little bit of my own, my own experience in this material and what prompted, the launch of our company and what we do today before we ground into some really powerful money teachings and abundance teachings. So, I was someone who I would say chased success for many, many years of my life. And that started off graduating college. I went to school for journalism. And then very clearly remember one day in my news editorial class, my professor sharing how much money you would make as a newspaper reporter, which this will date me. I feel like I sound so old when I don't feel like I'm that old, but I feel old when I say this. He shared how much money you'd make as a newspaper reporter because that was what I was going to do. And even at that early age, I thought, I don't think that's gonna quite cut it. So I had always enjoyed sales. I felt like I'd always, been pretty good at it. And I went from school into selling for several different media companies, rose up the ranks of the corporate ladder, found myself in my late 20s having checked all of the boxes of what I thought was supposed to feel like success. So six-figure plus corporate job, nice house, nice car, got married, all the things. And what I wasn't telling anyone was that on the inside, I was struggling to the point where I felt very broken. Panic attacks, eating disorder, massive fear, doubt, scarcity energy around money. The marriage was really unhealthy as well. There was just a lot that I had created and kind of built in my life, doing all the things I thought I was supposed to do to feel abundant, successful, prosperous. And yet I kind of looked at my life one day and realized I didn't know who I was. I had built up this whole facade and exterior that really wasn't me. And so it was actually around that time in my life that I was doing outside sales, working for a media company, and my territory. So who in here is outside sales? Y'all know what I'm talking about. You got a territory, you got all the things. So my territory, I would drive a couple of hours for most of it. This was, internet was certainly a thing, but it wasn't quite what it is now. So I would drive a few hours to go visit most of my clients. And I remember I my life was so out of alignment at that point, and I didn't really know that that was what was going on. I just knew that I didn't wanna be alone with my thoughts, and on those long drives where I almost had to be alone with myself, the voice in my head that was saying, "Something is off, something is wrong, you need to change this," it would get so loud that I was like, "I've gotta do something to drown this out." I didn't wanna sit with that. It was incredibly uncomfortable. So that's actually how I discovered podcasting, believe it or not. And, through podcasting, I came into the whole field of personal development, didn't really know what that was, but I started, listening to incredible leaders in the space of personal development, one of who, his name is Rory Baden. He ended up becoming a business partner of mine years later, which is a really beautiful experience, and still to this friend is someone to this day, is someone I consider a dear friend and love him and his whole team. But I started getting introduced to concepts around personal development, around the fact that everything in your life is really an outpicturing of your level of consciousness, of your identity, of your level of self-worth. And it was the first time in my life that I really started to take ownership of everything that was happening. I made a lot of changes really fast. Right before my 28th birthday, 28 has always been a very special number for me. I was born on the 28th. I see 28s everywhere. So right before that birthday, I made the decision that I did not want to spend that 1 year I got to have on this planet, at least in this lifetime of being a 28-year-old, in the same fear, self-doubt, lack, limitation, restriction that I had been living in up until that point. And so, actually, Mom, it's lovely that you're on the call today because you have a quote in your email signature that has always been very inspiring. And I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this name correctly, but Anayasin has this quote that says, "The day came where the risk it took to blossom what became less than the risk it took to remain in the bud." Something along those lines. I probably slightly paraphrased that. But I just remember saying, I don't know what's on the other side of making a lot of big changes in my life, but it's pretty painful where I am, painful to the point where it's time to make some changes. And so, in a very short amount of time, left the marriage, was petrified of the judgment I thought I would get for being divorced, left the marriage, left the corporate job, went out on my own to start a coaching company, had one client who had paid me 300 bucks. And I said, it's proof of concept. I can make money as an entrepreneur. I'm getting the heck out of corporate. We'll see what happens from here. And started really realigning my life and making a lot of big changes. 6 months to the day of my 28th birthday, I met someone, at an event, was not looking for a new life partner by any means, but I met someone, and I knew within about 5 minutes that he was meant to be. He was my partner, he was my person. Today is actually our 8-year wedding anniversary, which is really fun, the timing of this. So he is the father of my 3 children. We've gotten to have a really beautiful journey together over the course of the past 11 years now. Thank you so much. Um, and I also went out starting and building, a business, a company, and finding out how to make money as an entrepreneur, coaching and training other people in sales. And so fast forward fast forward 7 years from that, I wanna say, 20, 35, yeah, about 7 years, and a lot had shifted in my life. Again, was married to, Jason, my partner, my soulmate. We had our first son, he was 4 months old at the time, had, built up a very beautiful business in many ways, was working with clients who were, billionaires, New York Times best-selling authors, top 10 podcasters, some of the top, public speakers on the planet, supporting them in building and growing their brands and their businesses. And, things were really good in a lot of ways. It was much better than it had been. And yet there was this calling on my soul at that time that there was something much greater that I was meant to be experiencing in my life. And, around this time, like I said, my son Jack was 4 months old, and I remember sitting up, late night nursing him. And when you're doing that, those of you who have had this experience, it's like you got a couple options when you're feeding your baby, right? You can be fully present, which is beautiful, and or you can doom scroll social media and compare your life to everyone else. And what I had chosen to do is I was actually reading a book by Bronnie Ware called The Top Five Regrets of the Dying. And if anyone is not familiar with that book, Bronnie was a hospice care worker who sat on people's deathbeds with them. And what she shared was that right before people transitioned from this lifetime, they shared these regrets that she ended up categorizing into five common regrets. And the number one regret that people shared before they passed was, I wish I had had the courage to live a life true to me rather than what everyone else expected of me. And something about that struck me when I read it. Again, life was very good in so many ways. I had done a lot of healing, I had done a lot of personal transformation work, and yet there were some things going on where I knew there was a much greater calling that I was being meant to step into and lead into. One of my dear friends who was my podcast co-host as well, he'd been my podcast co-host, Greg Heyer, he passed away in his sleep at age 39, right around that time, left behind a wife and 5 kids, and he just didn't wake up one morning, wasn't sick, no one knew anything, he just didn't wake up. And I remember at that time that really struck me because I wasn't that much younger than him. And I remember thinking, I don't know how much longer I have. I think it's a lot longer. I hope it's a lot longer. I intend that it's a lot longer. But if I were to go it was like 4 years at the time, if I had 4 years left, could I say that I was living life full out? Could I say that I did everything I wanted to do? Could I say that I had gone for it fully, truly, and lived my fullest expression? And the answer was no. It was a firm, solid no. And while again, things were a lot better than they had been in many ways in my life. I was hiding. I was doing so much hiding. The things that I was supporting my clients in doing, building mega brands, getting booked on the big stages, getting booked on big podcasts, becoming New York Times bestselling authors, all of those things. Those were the things that were actually the callings on my heart to do as well. And yet I had told myself a story that I wasn't equipped, that I wasn't talented enough, that the timing wasn't convenient because we had a 4-month old. I was doing what I now call putting my life on layaway, saying someday when it's convenient, someday when things align. And what I didn't realize at the time, but what was actually going on was subconsciously, I was waiting for someone to come give me permission to do what I wanted to do. I was waiting for someone to come tell me, "You're good enough. It's time. You can have a more abundant business. You can speak on the big stages. You can grow the very successful company. You can have a top podcast." And I just realized in that moment, through a combination of my friends dying as well as reading that book, was like, no one is coming to tell you. No one is coming to give you permission. We actually wrote a book about it as a community. Some of you were authors of that book. If you were, you can raise your hand because I want to shout you out. We wrote a book called Permission to Be Powerful. Yeah, Allison's story is featured in there. Laura's story is featured in there. If I'm missing anyone else, please raise your hand. But no one is coming to tell you. No one is coming to give you permission. It is you. It is you. It is you. It is you. And no one is going to be able to tell you how to live your life in the most abundant, aligned, expansive way more than you are. And so I kind of just got it. And the other thing that had been going on at that time in my life was, although so much had shifted in terms of just increased happiness and alignment, and my personal relationship had shifted, I was still stuck in so much scarcity energy around money. I had a lot of fear around money. I still felt like I had to hustle to make what I wanted to make. We lived a good lifestyle. I was making low six figures in my business. But my husband, my partner Jason, was still working. He was working night shift as a respiratory therapist. He worked it during COVID. And he needed to work for us for that income. And I was in a lot of fear and scarcity again, or every month when it came time to pay the bills. I would feel nervous, I would feel anxious, I would feel like the money wasn't going to be there. I would feel guilt and shame around money. Who here has experienced that? I feel like there's so much cultural conditioning around this too, right? That it's something we've got to be afraid of, that it's something that is scary, that it's something that if we mess it up, then there's no turning back, right? There's all of this like societal, cultural fear and shame around this. And so I was definitely caught up in that. And so as a result, what was happening was no matter how hard I worked, I would never break past like a 10K, maybe a 15K month. First in corporate, then in my company, I would always make right around that same amount of money. And I thought it just had to do with, okay, I've just got to work harder. I've just got to double down. What I didn't realize at the time is that your results will never supersede your identity. So I had visions and desires in my life at that time to do things like have at the time, my vision was I want to have a seven-figure business. I want to be able to retire my husband from medical school, excuse me, from the hospital, from working as an RT so that he can pursue his dream of medical school. I want us to live a more expansive lifestyle. I want to travel differently. I want to dress differently. I want to have multiple homes if I want. I want to have the feeling of flow, that experience, and yet I was always in lack and separation energy around it. And so what I decided in that moment, where I was reading that book and I realized how much I've been playing small in my life was I said, I don't care what it takes. I don't care how long it takes. I'm done playing small in my life. I realize how much I've been playing small, and let me know, type a 1 in the chat, or you can raise your hand if you're here live if you realize, "You know what? There's parts where I'm still playing small in my life." And I'll tell you, like, I will raise my hand here too because I've tapped into how much potential I have, and I know that it's a fraction of what I'm actually gonna do in this lifetime. Like, no matter how much work you do around this, there's always another level, there's always another, place where you can expand into, which is really beautiful and really powerful. But I was really playing small at that time in my life. And I was like, I'm done. Oh, I see a lot of 111s and 1111. Beautiful. I've seen 111 everywhere today. Oh, Angela's saying infinite expansion. Beautiful. So I made the decision to stop playing small. I made the decision to stop trading my life for limiting beliefs and fears around money. I made the decision to stop putting myself in my own self imposed prison of restriction, of lack, of limitation that actually had nothing to do with how much money was in the bank, but had everything to do with me not trusting myself, me feeling like I wanted too much, me feeling like I needed to get permission from someone else to do things the way I felt called to do them. And I just made that decision that I was however much time I had left, I was gonna play full out. Shelly is saying I'm playing small and I'm struggling to figure out what to do. Ooh, yep. Yeah, we're aligning with $2 million plus. Shelly's she's in our mastermind and also doing some private coaching, and we're aligning with new frequencies. So I love that you're referencing, hey, what do I do with all this money once it's here, which is really, really fun. I love that. So a lot of things happened in a short amount of time after that. One of the things that happened was I had the opportunity to get way out of my comfort zone and invest $50,000 in coaching, around building my business and aligning with a new financial frequency. Scared the crap out of me, to be honest. Didn't have the money, definitely didn't have the money. But I knew that I had to do something to get so out of my comfort zone to have to actually face every limiting belief I'd ever had about money, that I decided to do so. And I decided to bet on myself, and I decided to finally get rid of those limiting beliefs around money and scarcity, et cetera. And what happened from there was in a 6-week period, I went from having been stuck at the same level of income for over 10 years, struggling, hustling, forcing, pushing, but never breaking through, to turning my annual income into my monthly income, going from 100K years to 100K months. And fast forward 4 years from that experience, life is very different than it was back then. Life is very, very different from making that decision. And I'm going to share with all of you today and tomorrow, and then in the VIP day. And for those of you who choose to go deeper into our programs, we really teach you how to do this. But I'll share with you so much of what has transformed in my money story, in my relationship with money, because the shift happened after the money came after I made internal shifts. And I want to be very, very clear on that. Your level of income will never exceed your level of self worth. And so if you are maybe today sitting at a $50,000 a year income, a six-figure a year income, a $500,000 a year income, $1 million a year income, whatever it is, and you are just saying, "Hey, I'm ready to tap into more expansion. I am ready to experience more." There is a different version of you who does that than the one who you are showing up as today. And it's beautiful. And the version of you who is showing up today is amazing and perfect exactly as you are. And from a place of self love, one of the most beautiful gifts you can give yourself is to align to a higher frequency. Allison, just like you said earlier, like I'm practicing aligning with a higher financial frequency to practice doing that because again, money is not the vision itself, but money is the how of your vision, of you expanding into another level of your life. And so I had to shift my consciousness first. I had to get wildly uncomfortable first. I had to look at every limiting belief first and dismantle, rewire it. And then more money came. Then more opportunities came. Then I was able to do things like retire my husband so that he could pursue his stream of medical school, which we are actively doing right now. That's why we're in Maine. Otherwise, I don't know if we'd be here, but honestly, I love Maine so much now. I really do love it. I think we might stay for a long, long time because I really love it. But he got into med school up here in Maine, so that's why we're here. It was actually his dream. He manifested his perfect school, which is really, really cool. And that's another story for another day. But he wanted to go to UNE, and here we are. So it's been a really cool experience. We now own multiple homes. We have done the things. We have built a very expansive lifestyle, and our company is growing and scaling to 8 figures and beyond. We are doing amazing things. That is very much a collective. It is not at all me on my own. It is a collective energy. It is a collective expansion. And we are committed as a company, as an organization, as a collective, as a community to empowering as many of you as you desire to tap into your fullest expression, to have your breakthrough moment, to get out of the shackles of lack and limitation that come from the scarcity programming and conditioning that is programmed into us from even before birth, and to tap into what's possible when you're not ruled and controlled by money anymore. When you're making decisions based on what you want to do, based on your highest self, based on your fullest expression, based on what your soul came here on this planet to do. And I'll give you just a little pointer here that you can't wait for the money to come to start doing that. You have to start thinking that way now. If I wasn't thinking about the money, what would I be doing? If I wasn't concerned about paying my bills, if I wasn't trying to figure out the how of the money, what would I be thinking about? What would I be focused on? What would I be doing right now? We actually, Allison, you and I, you really facilitated most of it on Friday. We did a beautiful event here in Maine on Friday that Allison led, and I was kind of in and out of for our clients were going through a program called Ease and Abundance with AI, which has been really beautiful. But we were working with one of the attendees at that event on how to tap into your truth. Like, how do you know what move to make in your life? And the guidance that I gave was take money and time out of it. And what do you do? What choice do you make? That's your truth. That's your truth. That's gonna guide you in the right direction. And then the key to quantum leaping, the key to collapsing time and space, which you'll hear from many people in this community who have done that, which is beautiful. You'll hear from some of them today, is to start making decisions that way now. The money comes after, the how comes after. There's actually neuroscience behind this, that the how doesn't come until after you have made a committed decision to something. I didn't go from 100K years to 100K months until after I actually put so much money on the line that I was wildly uncomfortable and I had to figure out a different way, a different approach. I know for a fact that it would not have happened had I said, "I will wait until I'm comfortable around the money. I will wait until the money shows up. I will wait until it feels easier. I will wait until blah, 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 blah." Your quantum leap does not come from waiting. It comes from taking action now with what you have and from acting as your highest self, taking time and money out of the equation. That will clear the energy for you around what choices to make. And then from there, you say yes, and the how comes after. You figure out a way. This is how it works, my friends. So I say all of that to say that this experience, this transformation, there's been so much learning and growth, both in kind of my first true quantum leap experience and then just in the 4 years that have ensued. Um, and what I'm going to teach you today has helped me as a woman, as a leader, again, to be a mom of 3 young kids under 5, well, one of them being 6 weeks old this week, who went from being stuck at 10 to 15K months consistently for over 10 years, to building a company that is scaling to 8 figures. To do our highest sales month has been around 400,000. Our highest cash collected has been 250. So there's still more. There's expansion, there's growth, but I share all of that to say that it is a to have that sort of a quantum leap in a short amount of time and not be working full-time hours, to be surrounded now by this incredible dynamic team and community. It has been a shift in consciousness, and I'm gonna teach you as much of it as I can over the next 2 days. And then again, for those of you who wanna go deeper with us, we'll share with you more tomorrow about how to do that. But it would not be possible without this material. It really wouldn't. And so part of what unfolded in that quantum leap experience is a methodology that we now teach, called the 4 quadrants of quantum sales growth. And I'm writing my book right now, which is based on this. So that will, when that comes out, there's, deeper dive into all of that. But I want to show you all this model just really quick so that you understand it, because we don't have time to go into all of it over the next 2 days, but we're going to dive into a deeper part of one of the quadrants. And so this is the path. This is the framework that when I looked back at how in the world did I finally get unstuck from what felt like just a constant low vibe struggle to building a life that, it's not that there aren't challenges, there's always challenges, but it really is amazing and I'm very grateful. And doing it in such a short amount of time, it was this. So I'm going to share my screen. And this is actually in our 10K club community. This is what our materials and our modules are built around as well. This is what all of our teaching is built around. These are the 4 quadrants. This is how you quantum leap your results in your life. So the first quadrant, mind over matter, this is not what most people think of when they think of mind over matter. Most of us, when we hear mind over matter, what do you think about? It's like push, force, doesn't matter how you feel, just make it happen. What we're talking about here is actually how your mind influences and impacts the 3D physical matter in your life. So, this is about belief systems. This is about identity. We do a ton of identity and self concept work with our clients because that to me really is the key of the quantum leap is you aligning with the identity, the version of you who does and has everything that you want. And it gets to be a really expansive, fun process. So this is subconscious reprogramming. There's neuroscience. There's spirituality in this as well. It's really beautiful. The second quadrant, and this is what we're diving into more over the course of today and tomorrow, and then the VIP day as well, is money. This is whatever amount of money serves and supports your most expansive life, lifestyle, etc. How do you align with that financial frequency? There is a different level of thinking, of operating, of being at a $100,000 a year financial frequency versus $1 million a year versus $10 million a year, et cetera. And I personally play with climbing the ladder there, not because I don't think that I'm good enough where I am, although that used to be how I think. It's not that at all anymore. It's about how fun can I let this be? How expansive can life get? How much can I impact others? How much can I serve others? When you heal and shift your relationship with money, life gets really exciting. And I'm never going to tell someone this is the only way to run your money, to manage your money, et cetera. I don't personally think there's one right way. We've got a lot of really smart, amazing, actually financial advisors in our community too, which is beautiful. I care more about my work in this lifetime is to help you call in way more money. But one of the things that my partner Jason and I have is we have an abundance fund. And so it's a certain percentage of the money that is profit that comes into our lives, and that fund is purely for things that feel like abundance, that can be giving. Like, well, last week we went out to a Mexican restaurant, and we frankly, it was a questionable meal, but it was fun, and it was a good place where our little kids could just go crazy. And we left $100 tip for the waitress because it just felt good, and that came from an energy of abundance and having and giving. And I know that we were called to go to that restaurant because that waitress that we had that night, could seem like she may not be having the best night, and I hope that that gave her, a lift and gave her a boost. So we were called to go there so that we could bless her life. We use it to invest in things that feel fun, that feel bougie, that just feel that feel nice. So that's one little thing that I do personally. And again, I don't think there's one right way to run or manage your money, but what I love doing and what I think our team is really great at and what our community is all about is tapping into higher levels of abundance, higher levels of frequency, where you get to play with money at a higher level. And you will hear today from several members of the community who have massively quantum leaped their money story and like how they did it as well. So I won't give too much away about this, but this is also dismantling limiting money beliefs, again, aligning with new frequencies, etc. The 3rd quadrant, and this one is really fun because we actually have quite a few men registered for this event too, which I love. Masculine and feminine energy. This is not about being a man versus a woman. This is about learning how to play with both energies in your life, in your business. Masculine energy is structure, it's organization, it's order, it's systems, it's the goal, it's action, it's all of that. Super powerful. Feminine energy is about flow. It's about receiving. It's about inspiration. It's about being more than doing. And what I experienced in my own life, and what I would say many of our community members have been conditioned to in the past, is really heavy into masculine energy because we've been taught the only way to be successful is to what? Hustle, force, push, drive, grind. What I will say is I spent most of my professional career way in my masculine energy. I was doing all the right things, but I wasn't doing any of this other work. At least I knew it intellectually, but I wasn't embodying it. And when I started embodying it and I started practicing everything that we teach in these 4 quadrants and what we're gonna learn over these next 2 days, that was when I 10x'd. And it was a very strong injection of feminine energy and allowing myself to receive and allowing it to be easier than ever before and actually feeling worthy. There's a lot to it, but that's the polarity and the dynamic of masculine and feminine energy. And as you ascend, as you rise up to new levels of success and you aspire to new levels of success, my experience has been we get to have a deepening in both. We get to have a deepening in both. And so, the version of you who again goes for maybe 6 to 7 figures, there is a stronger element of systems and support in that, but there's an even stronger element of flow. There's an even stronger element of receiving. There's an even stronger element of letting it be easier. There's an even stronger element of worthiness, of abundance, of joy, of love, of spirit, of your connection to God, source, universe, higher faith, higher frequency, all of it. So it gets to be really beautiful. And then the final quadrant here is method. This is strategy. This is what you're doing. Now, neuroscience tells us that 95 to 98% of your results are based on not so much what are you doing, but how are you thinking, right? What's your identity? It's the first 3 quadrants that we just went over. It's actually only a little bit of what you are doing. With all of that, we teach strategy, and I love strategy. Have worked with, coach, mentored, trained some of the top sales professionals in the world across every single industry. Have advised some of the top entrepreneurs in the world on their strategy as well. So we teach that. I love it. It's part of our programs. And if you're just doing the method or the strategy that's not built on that foundation, it's like trying to build a skyscraper with no foundation or a tree with no root system. This is where a lot of people miss the boat in what they're doing. So, oh my gosh, I could talk about this all day, but I want to cover as much as we can today. So let's talk about let's dismantle some lies about money. Let's do that. And then we'll go into some beautiful interviews. This could be a whole day event. We're gonna bend time and space. Let's do it. I want to dismantle quickly some money lies for you. Who here has been taught that money equals hard work? That to make more money, you must work harder. Let me just check. Seeing a lot of hands raised. I 100% believed that for a long time. It's a big bag of BS, all right? Is there work involved? Yes. Do I love taking action in my business to create channels to allow in money? Oh yeah. Absolutely. Um so there is action involved in making money. However, if you look at who works hardest on this planet, there's a lot of people who work very hard on the planet. Um Teachers, right? Construction workers. I mean, there's all, and this is like massive. I mean, my husband in his medical career for so many years, like working hard, very hard work, night shift respiratory therapy. Oh my gosh. Making a lot of money? No, nope, not at all. So, does more money come from hard work? No. You can take that approach and you actually, how do you know if you have this belief? And this is one that will hold you back. If you feel like you have to be working all the time in your business. I don't know if any of you who experienced that. I'm guessing a lot, especially my overachievers, my driven, ambitious men and women in here, where like it's like if I'm not working, what's the belief? I'm being lazy, I'm slacking off, I'm not worthy. I have gotten to do so much, so much rewiring around that one because it goes deep, right? Or if you're not working and you feel guilty, you feel useless, you'd feel like you don't deserve success, etc. There is a belief that the only way that you're going to make more money is to work hard. And because we always manifest our beliefs, you are going to have the experience of having to work very hard for more money. And tomorrow, excuse me, tomorrow we'll talk to some of the universal laws that govern money and success. There's a law called the law of compensation, which dictates and determines the amount of money that flows into you. And it has nothing to do with how hard you work. It has to do with how you provide value. It has to do with how irreplaceable you feel like you are, not what other people are telling you. How irreplaceable do you feel like you are? It has to do with how much love do you pour into what you are doing. So we'll speak to that more tomorrow. It has nothing to do with the hours that you work or how hard you work. So I think we want to get out of this conditioning that to make more money, I must work harder because that's going to keep you stuck. That kept me stuck for over 10 years. Second lie I want to dismantle for you is that you have to make decisions based on what's in your bank account today. Who here feels that or has felt that in the past where you're like, "I wanna do something. Oh, let me check what's in the bank. Am I maxed out on my credit card? Do I have space?" Right? Um, Here's what I will say to that. The money, whatever money is in your bank account, whatever amount is on your credit card right now, it's old news. It's old news. It's based on how you were thinking, feeling, operating in the past. And if you make decisions based on just what money is available today, you're going to keep getting more of the same. You're going to keep getting more of the same reality again and again and again. So take money out of it. What do you want to do? That is going to point you in the direction of your soul's truth. That is going to empower you. Someone like Cindy Dumont to go pick up in her life and go move from New York to Florida and go build her dream life, her dream business, all of those things into quantum leap and collapse time and space. Um, in her life is to start to make decisions based on what you want. And again, the how comes afterwards. The how comes afterwards. The other sneaky limiting money belief that's rooted in feeling like, okay, I don't have the money, so I can't do it, is you have a belief that you're not going to receive more. You have a belief that your bank account doesn't replenish, right? You have a belief that there's no more coming. And again, what do we manifest? We manifest our beliefs. So we want to get into the energy of constant circulation with our money. I believe money is a spiritual principle. I believe it's a tool that connects us. as a bunch of collective souls all having a cool experience here together. And money is meant to be circulated. Money is meant to be exchanged. I exchanged a good amount of money for the home we moved into this year. I walk around and I bless it. I am like, thank you. I'm so grateful that I got to exchange this money for this beautiful space that I get to raise my kids in now. It is meant to exchange, but I did it and I flowed the money in the belief that my bank account will fill back up. It always does, right? So, what would it be like for you if you saw your bank account, if you saw your savings, if you saw whatever vehicles are there for you in a state of constant replenishment? And there's a beautiful quote, and I don't know who the original person is who said this, but prosperity is what is left when all the money has been spent. Prosperity is what is left when all the money has been spent. Prosperity is a way of being. It does not have anything to do with the money in the bank account. All right. But here's what's beautiful and what happens is as you take action in your life from it through a lens of prosperity, because you start to embody that, because you start to build a belief system of that, because you start to um, radiate at a different frequency, you start to show up, make different decisions, hold yourself differently. Subconsciously, you communicate differently as well to yourself and to others. You will attract more money. You will attract more opportunities. Your bank account will grow, your business will grow. You will move up the leaderboard at work if you're in corporate. It will happen, but it has to start with practicing embodying prosperity and abundance now, no matter what's in the bank. If it's $10, if it's $10 million. Here's something else that I've seen that's really, really key. Your feeling of abundance and prosperity has nothing to do with what's in the bank. Doesn't have anything to do with what's in the bank. You probably think it does. It's actually your belief system. It's your consciousness. You can have, and I've had people have hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars in the bank and say, I don't have any money. Isn't that interesting? I don't have any money because it's in savings, it's in a vehicle that they've decided they can't touch or can't tap or isn't theirs. They are in a feeling state, in a consciousness of lack, while sitting on what a lot of people would consider to be quite a great deal of money. I have also had people who may be in transition, who maybe are leaving a job, leaving a vehicle, leaving an opportunity that was their money making vehicle. There's not a channel right now that's really flowing, but they learned how to tap into this consciousness. They learned how to tap into prosperity. They learned how to um, feel abundant, even though the results weren't there yet. And they end up manifesting quite a great deal of money afterwards. And this is actually where Kat, are you still, let me see, are you on? Are you here? I know that your Wi-Fi was spotty before too. Let me just see. Is Kat still on?
Can you hear me, Elise?
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, her, network failed, she said, so
Okay. That's
sorry. Yeah.
all good. We will if she's able to be on tomorrow, or even again, I'll call her up because she's got a pretty cool story of how she did that, which is really beautiful and powerful. The other lie I wanna dismantle is that, struggling with money is normal, that it's noble, or that you have to do it. And I say this as a woman who hid behind money struggle for years, and I say that very intentionally. I hid behind money struggle. It is a you're not normally even conscious that you're doing this. I wasn't doing it consciously, but when I found out, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I've been doing this." Um, Money struggle is a very convenient way of hiding or not taking action on the things that you are being called to do. For me, when I was in an energy of money struggle, I was like, well, I don't have the money, so I can't do the thing. I can't hire the team. I can't, um, I can't take the trip. I can't do this. I can't buy the shoes that I really want to buy, but I'm worried that I shouldn't be because this is not how we grew up, etc. Um, again, when you take money out of it, and you start thinking about your life through a lens of all my needs are already met. What am I doing? How am I operating? What actions am I taking? Things shift dramatically. You will tap into how absolutely expansive and unlimited you are. You will tap into your full soul's vision for your life, and you will start living a very different life. And because money flows in accordance with our vision, in accordance to um, how worthy we feel, in accordance to how boldly we take action as well, the money will flow in different ways to help support you in that. But money's struggle is a way of hiding, and it doesn't have to be the case. It really doesn't. There's so much more that I wanna teach around this. There's literally so much more, but I'm gonna pause because I wanna make sure we have time, to interview some really amazing members of our community. So, Allison, I want to invite you to, come off mute for a moment here. And Allison is actually I texted you, what, last night because I was thinking it's like, "Can you just come on and can we just chat about who you are and what you've done with this material?" Um, y'all, Allison my Southern is coming out here with the y'all, I love it. So, Allison, has been a member of our community for how many years now?
Like
Like
5, I think.
close to the start, yeah. Allison has been a private client. She's been a member of our mastermind. She is a certified consultant, and she is now actually um, leading and facilitating some really incredible programs within our community. And this is a woman who, obviously beautiful woman inside and out, and has also overcome a lot of personal challenges that you don't always know about when you first see her. And I want to acknowledge you, Allison. We don't necessarily even need to go into that today, but I say all of that to say that you have so embodied this material in your life and in your business. You have quantum leaped in such a short amount of time. You are an example of someone where um, when we did private coaching together the first time, it was like I know it was a scary, like, butt clenching feeling investment, but you said yes and then manifested $100,000 after that, right, to, pay for the investment, which was beautiful. And so Allison has had many quantum leaps that I've gotten to witness over the years, and she's in one right now and is just an absolutely beautiful soul, again, inside and out. And so I want to invite you to just if you wanna come in and share, just a little bit about, like, how this material and this community has impacted your life. Maybe we start with that, and then we can talk a little bit more about what's happened so far this year as well, if you're up for it.
Yeah, oh my gosh, absolutely. So when I very first started my business, I was like classic, but maybe even more extreme, like hustle culture. I had grown up in dentistry, which is a very fast-paced industry, and I was also a competitive athlete. And so as and so programmed that, like, hustle is the way to go. And I started my business, and I really felt like that was the only option, and was noticing that a lot of the other aspects of my life that I loved and was really connected to kind of started to fall away because I was just head down, blinkers on, like, "This is the only thing I can do." And I remember seeing Elise on social media, and I was like, "What is she doing? Like, what is this?" Because I felt that there was just a different way that you're operating, and immediately I was very, very interested and excited because I wanted to feel a lighter sense of ease, I wanted more abundance. And so, I was really curious to work with Elise, and our first intensive completely changed my perspective on what was possible for my business. And it opened my eyes to a different way of being an entrepreneur, a different way of making money, a different way of serving, a different way of honestly, like, feeling about myself at the time. And so it really, like, cracked open what I think was possible at the time, and I went through a quantum leap in its own way after our very first intensive. And then fast forward to, I would say probably a year later, I was getting out of a very abusive relationship. And at the very same time, my business was growing and scaling. And I knew that I needed support. Like I knew I needed, I would say, like guidance in this growth and this expansion. And so I made a decision to work with Elise as a private client. I was like, this is the kind of support I need. This is the kind of support I want. And I was like, year 2 in my business. So a six-figure investment into myself, there was definitely a growth there of I am worthy of this level of support. I am worthy of this kind of expansion. And sure enough, 2 days after our very first private intensive, I negotiated a contract that I had to pay for the entire investment in the year. And I would not have been able to do that, not just from like a tactical perspective, but from a self-worth perspective. Like the shift in my own energetics and my own mindset around what I was worthy of what my life could look like, of what I deserved, it shifted in that like one day. And I was able to stand for my worth, and it was pretty incredible. And so it's interesting how over the years, time and time again, I've gone out and done these things and then come back to this material, and I've applied it in different ways to keep quantum leaping. And I think that's the cool part right now is that last October, I just decided I'm gonna go become a consultant within this work. I It has changed my life so much that I wanna be a consultant within this work. And again, like another quantum leap has happened. So it's like it never gets to you don't ever have to stop quantum leaping, which is kind of cool. And it gets to be more and more fun. And so, I mean, long answer to your question of how much has this changed my life. It really has shaped and molded and created who I am today. And I would say not because it's made me different, it's made me more of who I'm meant to be, which is, I mean, I don't know where you find that kind of support or information anywhere else. So I'm so grateful to this community. I'm just so excited to see how I get to continue to grow inside of it.
Oh my gosh. I love you. And you really do embody this. And Allison's going to be speaking at our July live event, Superhuman Selling, which is happening July 17th and 18th here in Maine, which is going to be so powerful. And what you're going to speak about is like what you are living now, which is quantum leaping money and quantum leaping your revenue while also living in a ton of time freedom. And so maybe you can speak like however much detail you're comfortable speaking about. Maybe you can speak a little bit to some of the growth that you've had even this year and also like how much time you work for that growth because I think it's what a lot of people are probably aspiring to who are listening or who are in this, on this call now.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a fun story. So a year ago, I fell madly in love with the best human in the world, and I wanted more time with him. I wanted to have more adventures with him, and we just made a goal that we were going to work the 3 by 3 schedule. So 3 days a week, 3 weeks of the month, and 1 week of the month we would go on an adventure. And since July, we have been doing that. So we've been to Vermont, to Copenhagen, we're going to Portugal next month, to California, to Canada. We go somewhere new effectively each month, and it's been so much fun. And there was a level that I had to really like mindset-wise, nervous system-wise, I had to be like, It's okay for you to do this. Like, it's okay for you to take this time off." But I noticed something yesterday during Memorial Day. I had the day off and was just having a beautiful day. I was like, I old Allison would have felt uncomfortable not
Mm.
working this day. I would want to like get ahead or something, but I was so comfortable not doing that. And so there's like nervous system regulations I think that happen along this journey. But I also at the very same time, I'm like, you know what? Elise did it. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna go all in on this material. And I like made that decision because there was a point where I was like kind of dabbling. I was like, I'll try meditation, I'll try this. And I was like, no, I'm going all in. I'm gonna see what's possible for me. And I'm really excited to do it. I'm like, at the same time, I'm gonna do the 3 by 3 schedule. I want to double my revenue. I want to double it. In fact, I actually said last year when we were at our consultant event, I want to turn my annual income into my monthly income. I was like, "That sounds great. I wanna do that." I want a new Defender. I wanna surf on, like, the weekdays, and I met with my financial advisor last month, and he's like, "You effectively doubled your revenue at this point. Like, you've doubled it." And he told me, he's like, "The best investment that you've ever made has been in yourself, because now you get to do this again and again and again in different ways." And truly at the time, like, of investing in myself, like, I didn't have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars just sitting there to spend, but I'm like, "This is who I'm becoming. This is the level of investment that I'm gonna make so that I can be at that level of person." And that's exactly what happened. And so we've doubled. I feel like I could probably do it again, which is why I'm here on this call. I'm like, okay, how do I do it again? And how do I continue to have more fun and serve more people? And so, yeah, that's been this year's journey, which has been so fun.
5 months in, right? And you're like, yeah, and here's what's so important about what you shared and what I will say about everyone on this call is that a lot of times, those who are, whatever you wanna call it, like spiritual or heart-led or whatever, you can have conditioning around allowing a lot of money to flow in, and what I wanna say is it is so important for each and every one of you to be wildly financially supported because of the number 1, just because you deserve it, because you're worthy of it, because it's here to help you live your fullest expression, and when you have more energy to create with, which is all it really is, the impact and the ripple effect of how you get to influence and impact other people is huge. So it is this may be inflammatory, but I'll say, like, it is selfish, I believe, to hold back from allowing in the amount that is really required for you to live your life at your fullest expression, to stay stuck in struggle, etc. And I say that not with judgment, but just to say, like, each of you is here for something really incredible. Each of you is here for something really epic in your lives where you get to live your most expansive life. You get to remodel your kitchen, Shelly. You get to go on the trips, Allison, and the ripple effect and the good that comes from you being wildly financially supported is also it does impact others in big ways too. So thank you for sharing that. I just love you, adore you. Allison, again, she's speaking at our July event. She's a certified consultant. We're doing more and more together, which is really fun. She's been facilitating a program that we'll be running again later this summer and fall, Ease in Abundance with AI. Also getting trained at MIT in AI, like just brilliant, a brilliant woman. So very, very cool. And I love you and appreciate you. And you're incredible. So many more quantum leaps ahead.
Thank you so much. I
Yeah.
appreciate you right back.
Absolutely, absolutely. Kat, I saw you hopped back on, which is wonderful. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have you speak tomorrow, if that's okay. I actually teed you up and your internet had dropped, so I'll have you speak tomorrow. Okay, I shared a little bit about I didn't give away a lot, but you've got a cool story to share about really quantum leaping. So we'll have you speak tomorrow.
Perfect.
And then beautiful. What I want to do, I know we've got 12 minutes. So for about 5-ish minutes, Laura, I want to have you share if you are up for it. And it's gonna be hard to keep it in 5 minutes, but we're gonna do it. Laura is an absolute like angel on earth who's also like really a badass in a great suit and does a lot of amazing work on the planet. She is my soul sister, started off as a client, was in our mastermind, in our 10K club, then our mastermind. Our first private call together, the lights in my office kept flashing off and on uncontrollably. I thought about that the other day. I should have known at that time that there was something something, but you remember that, right? This was years ago.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Entire my life. They wouldn't stop. It was crazy, but very cool, and now I know why. Laura is now an incredibly integral, part of our community, part of our team. She is my integrator. She heads up our operations, our programs. She also leads quite a few of our implementation calls. So for those who are in our group programs, 10K, 50K, we have larger group coaching calls. Then we also have deeper dive implementation calls into the 4 quadrants. She also leads our corporate sales mastermind because, in addition to being a phenomenal leader on our team, she is a corporate selling powerhouse who, I think, just in this past week closed a really impressive deal that you may speak a little bit to the energy that called it in. But Laura has doubled her income in corporate in 6 months with this material. And so sometimes people hear stories and then you hear something like what Allison shared and say, well, you've got to be an entrepreneur for this to work. Uh-uh. We've got entrepreneurs and sales professionals, sales leaders in here. It's both. So Laura, if you want to, let's speak just a little bit to the origin story maybe of what brought you into the community and your initial transformation, and then I think it would be fun, because I haven't even heard the full story yet, but just to hear about the really beautiful, abundant deal that you just signed and how you did it with such ease.
Yeah, yeah, and I love to bend space and time, so time is very abundant for me, because I called in multiple levels of income for myself, and I've done that today, not only within 6 months of the program, doubling a, six-figure salary, which is not known, not heard of, from the corporate side of things, and I was like, "Yeah, this is happening." But it really, all this started from the inner work. I think about this, I too have a background that was really challenging. At the age of 16, I decided that I was going to change my environment. I didn't even know it at the time, but I was going to change what was happening around me. And I sat my mom down and I said, "We are changing this," because she had experienced some really hard stuff. And so I shared with her around some of the abuse that I had with my stepdad as I watched him do that to her. And I was like, "We're sitting down, I'm changing this." And then we moved and I moved around and I decided, you know what? I am not like, I'm taking back control of my environment. I was like, "You're signing me over as a ward of the state and I'm going to school on my own." I graduated high school early, my junior year. And I was like, this is happening. So I've always had this energy inside of me. I've always had this drive, and I've always, I wanted better for myself in my life. And I created that around me, but I did it so hard. And when I listened to Elise, it was alive. I was like, oh my God, this woman is talking big things and she's talking about doing it with ease. And I remember at the time just like, I want that. And then you talked about the emotional guidance scale. I read that book, which is by Esther and Jerry Hicks. Remind me the book name. Oh my
Asking, it's
goodness.
given. Yeah,
Thank you. I always think of Releasing Resistance because that's
no,
what
it's
the
all good.
series was.
I'm
There we
rereading it
go.
right now. Every morning I'm rereading it. Yeah, go ahead. So
And I was like a big like I was totally into self-help. And I actually, church was a place that I went to where I felt like my light and I felt good, and I volunteered, I was a leader, I and so many beautiful things. And I remember 45 years old sitting on my couch 5 years ago and, like, listening to, and I found Elise because I was like, "Oh, you know what? I love Mary Kay. I've been selling it and COVID's happening. How do we do this online?" And I was like, found her podcast and started following her, and I started listening to Alive, and like I said, I'm 45 sitting on my couch, and I'm like, at this point in time, my relationship with my mom had been pretty strained, and she had not been in my life at all. And she called me up and she's like, "Hey, I have cancer. I think I'm dying." And I was like, "Oh my God, what the hell am I going to do with that?"
mm,
And then I looked over at my husband and mine and his relationship. I mean, I met him actually my junior year in high school. So we've been married a long time. And I was like, okay, I'm sitting there. And why I thought of these moments is because something that Elise shared around this emotional guidance scale. And she was like, "You need to create this frequency, this vibration that's higher." I was like, "How the hell do I do that?" Because you know what? And I asked her a question: how do I feel better when I feel so hurt by people? And so she did not know anything about me. And she said, "You get to choose how you want to feel. Think of a time, think of something that makes you feel good." And I was like, "Okay." And then she said, "You're looking outside of yourself to feel better. Look within." And I was like, I don't even know what that means, but I knew in my soul something was even bigger and better. And then she said, "Your environment is a direct reflection of how you're being." And I have done this work for 5 years, and I'm telling you that this changed my life. That I lead my life from this place of belief, a place of trust, and this place of inner alignment. And I know that to change is to think greater than my environment. And that comes from Dr. Joe. And I love the work that he does too. So Elise introduced me to him. And so I will share that the moment I started feeling abundant, the moment I started feeling worthy too, um, and feeling this abundance, I started seeing my outer world reflect because of the inner work that I was doing on myself. I want to
Mhm.
pause because I feel like maybe you want to ask me something, Elise. And
I
we
wanna
have 5 minutes.
No,
We
this is
could go.
delightful. I know, right? No, I wanna talk to you about this all day, and I think it's so powerful, and this is part of why I love that you lead the community in a lot of this and in the implementation calls as well, because, the you just get we always get to go deeper in this work, and you continue to do that. I think in the time we have, because I need a couple minutes before 2:30 Eastern to share about what's next and tomorrow, maybe we could take, like, 1 minute or so, if it's feasible, and speak to how you called in a really cool, what a lot of people consider quite large amount of money, quite a large client, I think just last week.
It was $100 million. It was a
$100,000.
$100 million client, and
Yep.
the beauty with this is it was like I held the vision with this client, and I acted on this vision, and so this client actually, what was so cool is that, like I said, I held the vision of it. This client came in and I was like, this or something better. And originally he came in with maybe a $20 million buy-in. And then through the experience of it, something happened in his life and he was like, I'm not quite sure if I'm going to do this. And I kept holding that vision. I acted on him bringing stuff. So I started opening accounts. I started doing the things that I was intuitively led to do. And then he walks into a bank branch with an IRS check, a couple of them for $100 million. This just blows my mind. I'm just like, paper, walks in, deposits the money, I get a notification, and then I engage my team, we act and we close not $20 million, $100 million. And it was not by push or force, it was by the energy that I was carrying. It was about this belief, it was acting in this belief and taking aligned action that this is happening, this or something better. And I was just like, this was so fun, and I was like, this is the work. This is the inner work. This is the belief, you behave, and then becoming like this whole thing is like, I was this woman that brought this in. I believed it and I behaved and I acted on it. So, wasn't through forcing or pushing, and it
Mm.
was like even better than I can imagine. So, a lot of fun behind the whole story.
Oh my gosh. So if any part of you is thinking that this is just, I'm not speaking just to you, I'm speaking to everyone, like if any part of you is thinking that this is just feel good and it doesn't actually create tangible results, 100 million bucks, pretty tangible. So well done. I love you. I appreciate you. I know that we could go on and on, but what I will say is for those of you who are joining us and going deeper in our programs and in our community, which we'll share more tomorrow about how to do that or how to come to our July event, you will get to interact more with Laura, with Allison, with the whole team as well, which is really, really fun. So, in that spirit, let's share a little bit about tomorrow, about what's next. 90 minutes has flown as it always does. Tomorrow, same time, I believe the same place. My team will send out the link for everything, but it's 1 to 2:30 Eastern. Tomorrow, we are going to there's gonna be a lot more. It will be incredibly powerful. We'll do a guided visualization, exercise. We'll also speak about how to connect with the amount of money that is gonna really support you in living your fullest expression, and then how to expand into that as well. And there's gonna be a lot more. There's a lot we didn't get to cover today that I'm gonna aim to cover tomorrow. We'll also cover, more around universal laws that govern abundance. And Laura, you actually used one, the law of preparation, really powerfully there. So that's really fun. You actually used a couple, so I love it. So in completion for today, I want to invite you that if you would like to go deeper into this and have the time to be personally coached by me on whatever's going on for you here, come join us on the VIP day on Saturday. If my team can just pop the link one more time into the chat, um, we would love to have you join us for that. It'll be a really powerful, more intimate environment where we can go deeper together. And then what I would also invite you to do is go through the workbook tonight. So there's a lot in there. Some of the things we're not going to be covering until tomorrow. But there's a lot that we did cover today. where you can go deeper. It's going to give you reflection questions. You should be able to write and edit directly in the document we send out, but you can print it. You can also like go for a walk and voice note it, whatever works for you, but it's going to help you integrate this in a really powerful way. And we would love if you share any of your takeaways from today or from the journaling on social and tag me at Elyse Archer so we can shout you out. Also, connect with your success advisor about what showed up for you today. Reach out to them. You can book a call with them to talk through everything. And also, I would just invite you to message them, text them, email them, and let them know like what showed up for you. What were your ahas? What were your epiphanies? What do you want to go deeper into tomorrow? We're here to help support you in that. So tomorrow is all about expansion. It's all about greater flow. It's all about you tapping into that fullest expression of you. We're going to dive into more around the concept of relaxed success too, which is really, really fun for those of you who want to quantum leap and bend time and space and have a wildly abundant business or sales career, while also having a beautiful life outside of that as well. So, so much gratitude and love to each of you. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for our speakers and everyone who shared. And we will see you tomorrow for an incredibly powerful call. Bye, everyone.